it is my pleasure to introduce Regional Councillor Jim Jones.
This was Bill Clinton's theme song for the presidential election in 1992. And this was my theme song for when I ran for Member of Parliament in 97. And I love this song because I spend most of my life always thinking about tomorrow, because that's where we're going to spend the rest of our lives. And that's what I focus on. I focus it on for you and everyone. First of all, I'm deeply humbled by all the people that have spoken for me. I've known Guiney for a long time. I admire her. She's a Class A professional in the health industry. And I have to be good to Guiney because her husband is my dentist. And if I do anything wrong, I'm not sure what Meg would do to me. But anyways, I love Guiney, and she's a class act. And where's my stuff? Okay, also I served in the House of Commons, and the House Leader at the time was Peter MacKay, and I've always loved Peter. I respected him, and I'm deeply honored that Peter sent this letter. I know that he wanted to be here, but you know, when you're a minister, you get called at the last second to go other places. But I know that if Peter moves up, at one time he was the leader of our party, the Conservative Party, and also ran for the leadership of the Combined Party. And Peter's been a class act both as a defense minister and then now as the Attorney General and the Justice Minister, and that's a tough portfolio to have. Tony Clement, I also spent a lot of time with Tony Clement. Tony and I had many meetings trying to figure out how we would get the Reform Party and the Conservative Party back together again. And anyways, I have great respect and admiration, and I'm honored that he would take the time to say these kind words about me. Gila Marteau, I've worked with on the Young Subway Now years ago. I support her as a Member of Parliament, and she is deeply committed to transit, the Young Subway, the 407 Transitway, and also the Downtown Relief Line as I am. And I look forward to with both parties, and because transit has no boundaries. Transit is not political. A competitive transit network is really a competitive economy. And a network is only as good as its weakest links. I mean, I spent my last 15 years at IBM, I spent it in networking. And I supported products at the end of the network, but I knew every product that upstream. And the products I supported weren't the big dollars, but they were the ones they bought by the thousands. And I was always the one that was getting beat on, because if the Royal Bank had a $150 million order, my product didn't work. I got hecked for it. And back then, in the mid-'80s, working at IBM and being in the support that I was in, talking to our labs was like talking to the enemy. And that really didn't change until about 92, when Lou Gerstner came in, and really things really changed. So I look forward to working with Gila. Back in 1980, I wanted my son to play hockey. And he wouldn't play hockey. He said, "Dad, I don't want to play hockey. I don't want to get my teeth knocked out." And at the time, my wife said that, "Well, you're not going to sit around this house. You have to do something. And you're going to finish your Red Cross." And so he went over to finish the Red Cross, and the people at Centennial says, "Do you like swimming?" "Yes." And so he joined the swim club, and he was dead last for his first half a year, and then he started moving up. Then he'd change age, and he'd go back, and then he'd come back. But what I liked about the swim program, and also what I like about Charlene's program in gymnastics, is you against yourself. And it's the lifelong character building skills with good coaches and leaders like Charlene that really motivate young kids go. So when they're 27 or 33 or 35, they've got those lifelong character building skills in their repertoire. And when they get down, they know how to get back up. And that's what I was fighting for with the Canadian Sport Institute. I didn't bring it up in the fight of the arena because Jim would say, well, it's sour grapes. You're just trying to mix the two. But really, the MISTA program that I was trying to do was 2,500 to 10,000 kids a day. The arena was for 25 professional hockey players. So I had trouble supporting that. And really, I'm going to work hard because there's people like Charlene. I want to deliver this facility. I almost had it. And my good friend Paul Henderson, the Olympian, not the hockey player, he recommended to McGinty that we should get involved in the Pan Am Games because Paul worked with me on the Commonwealth Games. And I said, Paul, what'd you do that for? Because I was working on the Canadian Sport Institute, and I was almost ready to land it in Markham. And then all of a sudden, Peterson was not only the chair of the Pan Am Games, but he was also the chancellor of the U of T. And really, you could almost call the Pan Am Games the U of T Games because they ripped it off, the Canadian Sport Institute. Markham basically lost about $150 million in grants from the feds and the province. And so now I'm back trying to do it. And I want to do it for people like Charlene so that she can grow her gymnastic club to 2,000 kids. And I know that they will be motivated and they'll learn a lot. And you go through the tree of life, and when you get out in a branch and you don't want to do that, you go back down the branch and you do something else. And that's what I also saw in the Canadian Sport Institute and Charlene. Bob, I worked with Bob Mock. I worked with on the arena. We had many meetings. Marilyn, Bob, and many other people. And Bob is a straight shooter, a class act, and I always respected and admired Bob. And he's a leader in his own way. And I tell you, his integrity is above reproach. And I'm honored that Bob would speak for me on his behalf. I've known Bob Honestchuk for a very long time in the conservative circles, and I've always had high respect and high regard for Bob. He's been the chair of the Canadian Urban Institute for many years, and a big advocate for smart growth and transit. And I look forward, because when Bob came up, and it's the city of Markham, I met with him a couple of times, him and Ian Dobson, and then finally I got to meeting with the mayor and the CEO. And then he came to Development Services, and Bob and Ian did an amazing presentation. And not too often does the city of Markham give out $100,000, but we wanted to become a partner in the SRRA. And I had the honor and the privilege to be appointed by the City of Council, or the City of Markham Council, to be a member of the SRRA. And I look forward to doing my part if I get back in, over the next 4 years of driving their plans, the transit plans, and also John Tory's plan, because like people said to me, aren't you mad that Tory didn't take my plan? He has driven it beyond approach, and he has made it happen. And that's the big thing, is when you develop things, the only way they're ever going to happen is when you share them and you work on it together. And I've always been a believer that a network is only as its weakest link. And I remember how I developed iMetro E was I put a motion through at the region, and I wanted to have McGinty to have the transit workers that was in Markham order them back to work. Well, I lost 13-5, and then afterwards I said, why did I lose? Well, the northern 8 members of York Region Council, they have different issues. They want the 404 extended. They want the road to go from the 404 over to the 400. Just totally different issues than we have in the south. And in the south, we have intensification, gridlock. I'm not saying you, because when I go to the region a couple times a week, it's solid traffic going south from Mulock or Davis Drive. So, but anyway, and Vaughan wasn't on strike. And then I got thinking, and I said, the strategy of the York region is to grow buses over the next 20 years. I said, we got tons of GO lines going through York region. With future Peterborough, we have the Stouffville, we have the Richmond Hill GO, we have the Barrie line, we have the proposed Bolton line. And I said, what they're only doing is taking you downtown, 5 or 6 trains in the morning and 5 or 6 trains in the evening. So all GO is doing is servicing the peak. And there's not the connectivity that there should be there. So one of the things, and I said the affinity of Markham is that they want to go downtown. They don't want to go to Woodbridge, or nothing wrong with Woodbridge or that, but they want to go downtown. And I also, my 2 years or 3 years, I forget how many years I put on. Actually, it wasn't that long. I knocked the bus maintenance facility out of Langstaff in 4 months. Bill, they had an approved DA, and I knocked that out. And then the next day I said, okay, I'm now going to knock Viva off of Yonge Street and go for Subway. Well, a lot of people thought it would take 2 years, but 2 months later, McGuinty announces the Yonge Subway, and like Marilyn said, the thing he forgot to do was fund it. So, I think that if we can get the downtown relief line, we free up a lot of money for the Yonge Subway. I think if Toronto gets in, you'll see on the map there that pink is the Toronto downtown relief line. If we go with that Toronto downtown relief line, they're going to suck all the money out of the system, and it will be a long time before we get anything, and definitely the Yonge Subway. And Bob, I look forward to putting my hours of work into it, because it's worth it for the economy. What this is worth is jobs, and because we're spending all our time in gridlock, we're chasing away jobs. The manufacturing and other jobs are going other places. I think the SRA has done a study saying over the next 25 to 35 years, there's 125 to 135 million square feet of offices needed. Toronto could take another 30 or so million in that time frame. Where do you put the rest?